Hello and welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to be covering a topic known as narrative art. A narrative is a story, and a narrative artwork is a story that is told through art. So let me roll out of the way over here. So narrative art, it's very simple to understand. It's a little bit more difficult to wrap your head around when you're creating it, because not only are you making art, but you're trying to tell a story when you are making your artwork. For instance, this artwork right here. Now, the artist here uses two different pictures. The pictures on the top symbolize what adults see, while the picture at the bottom symbolizes what children see. And the story behind this artwork is, as children grow up and turn into adults, they lose their imagination. The artist is showing that by the picture at the bottom having the kids pretending like the super mall or the marketplace where they're at is actually a Dungeons and Dragons type of game where they're not trying not to fall in the lava or step in the lava or anything like that, and they're trying to navigate around the gargoyles and all the Medusa heads and everything else that's going around. While the picture up top, you see that guy over there and he's just looking at those kids like, what are those kids doing? And then the mother up there at the top, she's going, oh, please stop running, please stop running, please stop running. But to the kids, they're in their own little game. They have their own imagination going on. And that's the story that the artist is trying to tell. As you grow up, you lose your imagination. Now that I explained what narrative art is and gave you an example, I want you to take a second and look at this artwork and think about what you think the story is. Now let me go ahead and explain what's going on in the picture. The character is reading a book and things are coming out of the book, and you even see a little man up there that looks like he's commanding the army on top of her head, just going, roar, like, over there, get the dragon. Well, the story behind this is books can take you to a different place. For instance, have you ever been watching a movie or playing a video game and you just get so involved in whatever you're doing that you feel like you are actually there? Well, the same thing happens with books. A lot of my students, they just don't read books anymore, and I don't really understand why, because books are, they're not just textbooks. You can get books that can take you to magical places with dragons and things like that, and the more you get into what you're reading, the more the book actually comes alive. And that's the story behind this artwork. Now, artworks can have deeper stories like this, or it can be a joke. So for instance, take a look at this image. What do you think this image is telling us? Now this one is very obvious if you read the title right over there, but time is money. It's a clock made up of money. It's kind of a play on words. It's a joke, and I think it's funny. It's a great illustration of how you can tell a story just using pictures. Now, the last one that I want to look at, this artwork goes really deep and has a really, really deep meaning behind of it. And before I give you time to think about this, let me explain what's going on. You have the dragon, and the dragon is breathing out fire. And inside the fire, you see all of these little animals. In fact, this square right here is a zoomed in portion of this right here. So where my mouse is going around. And before you say anything, no, the dragon does not have indigestion. This is not vomit. He is not sick. Okay. The dragon is breathing out fire. And inside the fire, you see all these different animals and creatures. So just take a second. Think about what that could mean. Come up with your own story for this. So the story the artist was trying to tell behind this was that with every bad thing, good things usually come out of it. With death comes life. With destruction comes rebirth. And there's all different kinds of metaphors that you can go along with this. The dragon symbolizes destruction. That typically is what dragons symbolize in artworks. And the dragon symbolizes destruction, and it's breathing out fire. But from the fire, from the destruction, comes life. It's like a volcano. When a volcano erupts, all the molten lava comes out and destroys everything around it. But the minerals and nutrients that was in that molten lava, when it cools down and it starts to break down and plants start to grow back, they grow back more lush and more green than they did before because of all those minerals. So with destruction also comes life. And that's what this artwork means. So let me get down to your lesson. Your lesson for today and the next day, I want you to come up with a story, a song, a lyric, I don't care what it is. And I want you to tell that story in your artwork. But the catch is, you're not allowed to use words. No words in your artwork at all. You will need to tell your story without words. So, as an example, like I said, I don't care if this is a short story, if this is a book from your childhood, a verse from a song, a little snippet of a book. It's completely up to you, or even a scene from a movie. I don't care, as long as it can tell a story in your artwork. And the example that I like to give is, I used to love this song growing up as a child, and it talks about how Snoopy from the Peanuts was fighting against the Red Baron. And if you ever watched the Peanuts, you would see that Snoopy likes to pretend that his doghouse is an airplane. So he hops on his airplane and goes, and he flies around, and he has dog fights in the sky. So the song that I used to like as a child says, Snoopy blazed a trail straight across the sea. And that was one line. And I always pictured Snoopy on his little doghouse flying right above the surface of the water across the ocean, and just waves going up and going and crashing down on either side of it. That is narrative art. That is telling the story of that verse right there in the artwork, and I didn't use any words to describe it. That is what you need to try to do. Come up with a story. It could be something from your life. It could be anything you want. So I'm going to show you some student examples, and before I get started, I know that I said no words. Well, the student examples that I have is from wherever I had a lesson like this online, and I had the participants give me song lyrics that they were going to convert over into stories. So I had to have them include the song lyrics, but some of them don't have it. Anyway, I'll be explaining that. This example, the song is from Pink Floyd, The Wall. And the quote is, another brick in the wall, sorry. The quote is, how can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? And you see the character right there getting mad that he doesn't want to eat the chicken leg and he wants pudding. Pretty straightforward, and it tells a story. It's not too bad. This one is from a song known as Mr. Blue Sky. And basically, if you haven't heard that song, it basically says that when the sky's blue, everyone's happy. So you can see that you have characters jumping around and they're really happy and the sky's blue. Mr. Blue Sky. It tells a story. This artwork is from the song Peaches by Presidents of the United States of America. And the verse is, millions of peaches, peaches for me, millions of peaches, peaches for free. And you can see the character sitting on top of a mound of peaches, eating peaches. Pretty straightforward. Now this one, I really love to show this one because it's a great example of really in-depth storytelling, and it hits on so many different levels. So the song is Sweet Dreams Are Made of This, or Sweet Dreams Are Made of These. And the verse says, I traveled the world in the seven seas. Everybody is looking for something. This comes from a song. And to symbolize that it came from a song, the character is on a CD or a record, depending on what you'd like to look at it as. And not only that, but the record or CD is shaped like the earth. It has the pattern of the earth on it. So I traveled the world. The song represents the CD. The world represents the picture on the CD. And then you have footprints all over the world. And the character standing on top. He's traveled the world in the seven seas. And everybody's looking for something, but he didn't find what he was looking for because he's still looking. The symbolism inside of this and the story that it tells is just perfect. It is so good and so detailed. That is what your assignment is today. Today and the next day, I want you to come up with a line, a lyric, a verse, a quote from a book, a movie scene. I don't care. Just something. Come up with something that you can tell a story with in art. And your goal is to make an artwork that tells that story without using any words. Now, in the classroom, I expect my students to either have this artwork completely colored or shaded. And of course, it has to be school appropriate, so nothing inappropriate for school. This lesson, I always intended for the first day to be planning out your lyric, sketching, coming up with your basic ideas, and if you get time, go ahead and start on it. Then you're going to be really cranking it out and trying to finish it up on the second day. All right, so thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. If you would like to leave a comment or ask a question, comment sections down below. And if you'd like to tune in to the rest of our lessons, we are going to be uploading all of our lessons over the next couple weeks. So go ahead, subscribe to us, and you'll be notified when the next lesson comes out. Thank you all very much.